Welcome to Bearing Light, a podcast of the Georgia Bulletin, news source of the Catholic Archdiocese of Atlanta. I'm Nicole Golden, and today we welcome Atlanta's Archbishop Gregory J. Hartmayer, who serves as chair of the National Catholic Educational Association. Maureen Smith, Chief Communications Officer for the Archdiocese, sits down with the Archbishop to talk about Catholic education and Catholic Schools Week.
Well, thank you, Nicole. We'd like to welcome with us today Archbishop Gregory Hartmayer. Of course, in addition to being the Archbishop of Atlanta, you have had a long career in Catholic education and are a graduate of Catholic education. So we thought it would be good to invite you as the current board president for the National Catholic Educational Association, for NCEA, to come and talk to us in honor of Catholic Schools Week.
First, thank you, Maureen, for inviting me to talk about, I think, this very important topic, especially as we celebrate Catholic Schools Week, as we should, in a Catholic archdiocese like Atlanta. And so to talk about the mission of the Church, it is a primary mission because all of us who are baptized are called to evangelize and propagate the faith and to really be witnesses of the faith by the way we live our life, but also to have some substantial dogmatic education, and should stem from home. Parents are the first and best teachers of the faith, the baptismal ceremony tells us. So Catholic schools themselves, I mean, it's the next question that really follows through is how do we maintain that Catholic mission of the Church through the schools? Well, schools are an ideal place because Catholic education provides an opportunity for formation. And formation, whether it's a math class or a phys ed class or whether it's a religious education class, the teaching of the faith continues in every aspect of a Catholic school. You can feel it as soon as you walk in the building, and there are signs all over that it's a Catholic school. And there's discipline, there's order, there's rules and regulations. These are taught at an early age, and they're very orderly. And it's only in that kind of an environment can you really teach effectively, where the students not only listen to it but retain it and have opportunities to practice it by having school masses, school prayer services, Catholic education in a formal way as a course each year that they're in Catholic schools. So the Church takes very seriously the opportunity to educate them in a Catholic climate and a Catholic setting.
Can you tell us a little bit about why you think it's important for the Church as well as families and parish communities when they're supporting a Catholic school, even if that Catholic school is not there on property? Just why is Catholic education important for the Church in general?
Well, as I said in the very beginning, it's an ideal way of passing on the faith through a home that actively participates and practices their faith at the parish level, and then the child goes to a Catholic education setting where they get an academic education in all the subject areas, but they also have a Catholic class or course each year that they're in a Catholic school. So there's dogma taught, there's tradition taught, the lives of the saints are taught, the parts of the Mass, preparation for sacraments. All these things are taught in the Catholic school as part of their curriculum. And so it's an ideal place to pass on the faith. But again, we assume that the parents will continue to provide education in the Catholic Church in their home environment as well.
How do you see your role as the chairman of the board for NCEA, for that National Catholic Educational Association?
Well, I have been on the board for a couple of years already, and then I was asked to take on the role of chairman of the board, which I was happy to do because I believe in the National Catholic Education Association I've been a member of it since I was a priest teaching in Catholic schools, being an administrator in Catholic schools. So it's a continuation of what I was very much involved in before coming to Atlanta as a pastor. And so at the national level, we provide resources for our Catholic schools throughout the country. It's a national organization. It's a membership organization. So Catholic schools, their teachers, their administrators, their superintendents are all invited to be a part of the National Association, particularly because of the resources that we can offer to help them in their roles at the local level.
In your time on that board, have you learned anything that has surprised you, anything that has worried you, things that are going really well nationally, things that you think are of concern?
Well, of course, I've been out of the classroom as an administrator or as a member of a faculty in Catholic schools for more than 20 years. But I have a wonderful memory of the years that I was involved in Catholic schools. And I have a great interest in continuing to support and do whatever I can to promote Catholic education. So there's a great deal of information that comes my way. And of course, being the Archbishop of an Archdiocese, we have a very sizable educational selection of schools in our Archdiocese, from preschool to through high school. So there's issues all the time, and we have a very active superintendent's office here in the Archdiocese. And so I'm more than happy to assist in any way I can, and I always look forward to going to the schools with the other auxiliary bishops that are in the Archdiocese to celebrate Mass or to celebrate certain special occasions that we're invited to keep in touch with our Catholic schools here in the Archdiocese of Atlanta.
What do you think is the greatest strength of Catholic education here in the Archdiocese?
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of them. It's I think putting a child in a Catholic school setting is an extension of the home, hopefully, or sometimes it fills in gaps that the home can't provide, and it becomes a family in itself as well. There's a Catholic school spirit. There's a family type spirit. The teachers are very attentive to each of the students and their achievement and their needs. So all of the personnel, all the faculty, the staff, the administration, they're all on the same page. They buy into the same mission to make that a special place where they not only learn about the faith, but they practice the faith. And so we expect a certain behavior from our students and faculty. We would challenge them if there were ways in which that they weren't displaying good judgment or Catholic ideals or values of the gospel. These are all things that if you're going to come to a Catholic school as a student or as a teacher or administrator, that there's certain expectations that we have that reflect our Catholic beliefs, and I think that's one of the strengths that we have, is that it's Catholic from the moment you step in the morning till the time that you leave in the afternoon. As I said before, no matter what course you're teaching or whatever role you play in a Catholic school, whether it's maintenance or whether it's cafeteria or whether it's administration, you should be able to tell by the behavior of everyone in that building that this is a Catholic school.
What do you think is the greatest challenge we face? We do know here in the Archdiocese of Atlanta we have a growing population, but we do know some schools have enrollment challenges. Is that the biggest challenge? Are there other challenges to Catholic education, and how do we sort of meet those where they are?
Well, the Catholic school budget is tuition driven. and personnel is the largest budget item in any Catholic school budget. And so finances play a big role in whether or not a family can attend a Catholic school. We do the best we can by providing tuition assistance and scholarships to those students who are interested in Catholic schools and their parents want them to be in a Catholic school. So I would say finances is a big issue in terms of why people choose or don't choose a Catholic school. The other thing that's even more important is it a value? Do our parents see Catholic schools as a value in not only their child's education but in their formation? And I think if the parents feel that Catholic schools are a value, they will make the sacrifices necessary to send their children to a Catholic school, and to find ways in which they can finance it through scholarships or tuition assistance. Or they have to make a sacrifice. I mean, my parents made a sacrifice to send us to a Catholic school when it was $200 a year. And now, of course, the tuition is much higher because there are fewer religious that would take a lesser salary. And so in order to pay our teachers, our lay teachers and administrators, a fair value and fair salaries, we have to have the income to be able to provide for the faculty and to keep and retain good teachers and our teachers who are committed to the Catholic mission. And so obviously it has to be paid from some source. We here in the Archdiocese are fortunate. We have a great deal of support from our parishes in terms of providing tuition assistance to the local schools in their deanery or in their area. The Archdiocese itself, through the Archbishop's annual appeal, makes funds available again for financial assistance. Each parish in the Archdiocese provides 3% of their offertory to tuition assistance for Catholic schools. It comes out to about $9 million a year that the Archdiocese makes available to help parents be able to send their children to a Catholic school. So first and foremost, if it's a value for them, they will find ways to provide financially. And we work as a partner. We'll do what we can to help, and the parents have to do their share as a help. And it oftentimes will require it being a sacrificial effort on their part. And so it first and foremost has to be a value. They have to see the need in their child's life for a Catholic education and what it can do for them during the years of formation. To me, it's a win-win situation. Parents are helped in raising their children in the Catholic faith, and the Church becomes stronger in its mission to pass on the faith.
If you want to do a speed round, what's your favorite extracurricular?
My favorite extracurricular, I like to watch the kids put on a play. And my experience has been, if it's done right and there's an effort made, that usually it's the athletes who end up being in the school musical. And that probably would not have taken place, or maybe it doesn't take place in other schools, but in Catholic schools there's a sense of confidence and identity that is strong enough that the kids try out for these plays. I mean, they're serious about it, and whether they're the coach or the quarterback for the football team, or whether they're an accomplished pianist, they want to be a part of the school play, and it takes several months of rehearsals and acting, and they've developed some wonderful relationships among themselves, and they meet kids their age that they might not otherwise meet if they don't step forward and take a chance and try out for the play or for the orchestra. And there's a level of self-confidence that I think is built for them to be able to do that, and we encourage them to do it, and they feel comfortable in doing it. And it's a great sign when you see that the whole school is showing up for a football game, as in the stands, or in a basketball game in the gym. They're not playing on the team, but they have friends that are on the team, or it's simply their school, their team, and they want to follow and cheer on that team. So I just see a great sense of family in the schools, and a lot of it comes from the co-curricular activities after school that bring these kids together who might not otherwise meet each other.
Did you have a favorite subject that you used to teach? What was your favorite thing to teach?
Oh, I'm glad you started with me teaching and not being a student in Catholic schools, because that's another story.
We can get to that if you want.
I enjoyed teaching whatever. When I was first teaching as a scholastic during a pastoral year of my formation in the seminary, we taught in one of our schools. I taught in Baltimore, Maryland, at Archbishop Curley High School. I started in 1974. And I taught whatever the principal told me to teach, and that's the way it was in those days. I had just graduated from college. I had a degree in philosophy, which there wasn't a great need for philosophy in high schools, in the Catholic schools. But nonetheless, I had courses in theology and scripture and so forth that would help me teach religious studies. But I was assigned to teach English, I guess because it's my native language, my only language. And so I taught freshman English, 4 sections. And they also gave me, because they had no one else to do it, a honors seniors class of sociology. I had minored in sociology in the seminary, so I was given a group of about 30 honor students who were in their senior year to teach sociology out of a college text. And I was lucky to stay one chapter ahead of my students. And many of them, because they were bright, had some challenging questions and topics that required me to do some additional research to prepare to answer their questions in a good way, in a way that would have some help, some assistance in the purpose of the question. Sociology is, some will argue whether it's even a science, but I think it is. It's a social science. It doesn't have the length of existence as psychology does, but sociology is a study of society and people interacting with each other. So I found the course very interesting. It was another preparation in addition to the 2 levels of English, but I had 5 classes a day, every day of the week, and I enjoyed it very much. It was my first experience as a teacher, and it was a wonderful time in my life to be exposed as a teacher for the first time to a large school, a boys' school, with an average of about 35, 38 kids in a class, which today is unheard of. But in those days, you did what you were told.
You taught, and you were an administrator, and you were a pastor. So you could have left Catholic education. You could have said that was a part of something I did a long time ago. What brought you back? Like, what did you love about teaching? What did you love about being an administrator?
Well, I was in the guidance department when I returned to Catholic schools after ordination to the priesthood. And I came back to that same school in Baltimore, but as a guidance counselor. And so a guidance counselor's responsibility was to meet with each student to see how they're doing in their classes and their grades. Is there any topics that they would like to talk about? How are they doing at home? How are they doing with their friends? Just kind of growing up kind of questions that we'd be able to assist them if they came to us for some advice. That and those experiences over the 15 years that I taught Catholic schools gave me the opportunity to listen to kids outside the classroom and to really hear about what's happening in their life. And they would rely on us. They would come to us with what they thought was, some really serious questions about their experiences in life, peer pressure, parent relationships, teacher issues, all the topics that would come up, their girlfriends and all those issues. And I learned that those kids had such a trust in us as counselors and as members of the faculty that they relied on us. They confided in us. They looked for our assistance in giving them advice and growing up. And so that's the formational part that I was attracted to, that I received when I was in Catholic high school as a student. And as our society changes and it gets maybe more secular, these kids seem to have more questions. And with social media now and the information that they're bombarded with, whether it's misinformation or exaggeration or just artificial intelligence, whatever it might be, these kids are facing a lot more now than when I first started teaching. And so I see even a greater need to have them in an environment where people are caring for these students. They're not only teaching a course, but they're teaching as Jesus did. And that's what I want to keep seeing being made available to the young people here in the Archdiocese of Atlanta.
I've heard you say that we have reason to be proud of the schools here in the Archdiocese. So now you've seen schools on a national level with NCEA. You've taught at schools all across the country. What is it about Atlanta that you're particularly proud of? What is it that this school system offers?
Well, there isn't a great difference, actually, from when I was teaching and when I was a principal to the way schools are now. There are differences, but they're not. There's also the same issues, and I think here in Atlanta we're very privileged. We have state-of-the-art buildings. First of all, our schools are new, and they're equipped with all of the necessities and the opportunities that a good school would have: playing fields and auditoriums and music rooms and art rooms, science labs, robotics, computer rooms. Our schools are so well equipped that we wouldn't take second place against any other private or public school in the Atlanta area. We have fine facilities. We have, I think, very dedicated teachers, qualified teachers. They have degrees in their areas where they're teaching. There's a tremendous atmosphere of respect and students for one another, and students to teachers, and teachers to students. And so we really stress in our Catholic schools here in the Archdiocese and certainly throughout, I think, the United States, that there's a great emphasis placed on human dignity, and that every child, every adult, every person, as a child of God, deserves to be respected and to see them and treat them with dignity, even though they're different. You hear a lot about bullying in our schools, in our country, public schools and others as well. We wouldn't tolerate anything like that in our Catholic schools. The first sign of something like that would be dealt with immediately. And so anything that the kids need, what they're facing, The whole discussion about iPhones in schools is being dealt with now. Many schools, public and private schools, are requiring the schools to surrender the students to surrender their iPhones as they come into the school, and they can pick them up on the way home. That's something that is sorely needed because they're distracted so easily that it serves no purpose. And so those are the reasons why I'm still interested in schools, because I'm interested in young people. One of the things I do as a bishop that I enjoy the most is confirmations, because it involves young people, and I enjoy being with them. I enjoy talking with them, asking them questions, listening to their answers, and just being in their presence. They energize me. They give me confidence in the future. When I see the level of maturity in our schools that I visit, I'm edified by and impressed by this generation that's now in high schools, particularly high schools, and colleges too. I've visited a number of colleges now that we have focused missionaries in our colleges in the state of Georgia. When I meet them and have mass with them or have discussions with them, I feel very confident about our future as a society because of the faithfulness and the values that young people are beginning to embrace today, even in a public way. And I think that certainly will serve our society well. And we need to listen to our young people more than we have. Some of them are much wiser than the leaderships that we might find in our society today.
If you were talking to a parent and they were just on the fence, why pick Catholic schools? Why pick Catholic schools here?
Catholic schools are different. Certainly they both have the goal, both public schools and private schools, Catholic schools, they all have the goal of providing the best academic setting that they can by hiring the most qualified teachers that they can, to have a facility that is suitable for education. I think our Catholic schools are second to none in the Archdiocese of Atlanta in terms of facilities, faculty, methods of teaching, opportunities for them to have co-curricular activities. I just think that the guidance and the formation element of Catholic schools is hard to put a price tag on. When your child is growing up as a middle school student or as a high school student, and you know that they're in a setting 6 hours a day that reinforces the values that parents have at home, the chances of them having fewer issues with their children as they go through elementary school and high school than if they didn't have exposure to a Catholic education that has the value system and the system of education that our Catholic schools have. If I was a parent myself, I would do without whatever I had to in order to provide my child what a Catholic school can offer. And it's education, it's transformation, it's formation, and it's an experience that the kids will always remember. They'll have great friendships from these schools. There's a great sense of community, of family. There's just a lot of people that they're surrounded by who care about them in a sincere way. It's not just a job for our teachers and administrators. It's a vocation. And they are doing the work of the church. And they are preaching the gospel in many ways, in whatever subject matter they may be teaching. simply by the way the schools are run, the expectations of achievement of the students, and the opportunities to integrate with adults who care about them and have the same values and religious beliefs as they do. And that's where I would want my children to be.
Do you have anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I would like to say that in my experience, both as a teacher and now more recently as a pastor and now as an archbishop, when I go to Catholic school events, whether they're sporting events or cultural events or celebrate Mass for them, I see the presence of grandparents. I don't know whether grandparents are younger now or just maybe they retire earlier, they have more time on their hands, but they seem to want to play a greater role in the life of their grandchildren who are attending Catholic schools. And they're always welcome, and they are present in very good numbers. When we have a Catholic school event that I attend, I see grandparents all the time who want to be in their grandchildren's life. And many of them, I know, many of them are providing the resources to help the parents provide the opportunity for these children to go to a Catholic school. And so my hat's off to grandparents who have taken, I think, a very serious role in seeing that their children are brought up in the faith, even through the schools and the years of their schooling in Catholic schools, in the schools that I've visited here in Atlanta.
Well, Archbishop, we appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to us about Catholic Schools Week. I feel certain you're going to receive some invitations to come see a lot of spring musicals now. And again, we just appreciate you joining us on Bearing Light, the podcast of the Georgia Bulletin, the news source for the Catholic Archdiocese of Atlanta.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, and I look forward to future podcasts.
Thank you, Maureen and Archbishop Hartmayer, for the thoughtful discussion on Catholic education and its value to society as a whole. Listeners can find the latest news at georgiabulletin.org and also find more episodes of Bearing Light on the first and third Mondays of each month, wherever you like to listen to podcasts.